One of the most spirited debates that we have in class every semester is the difference between a personal and a private presence on social media. And I really want you to think long and hard about whether or not there's anything that is truly private once you put it online. Let's take a look at some examples of this. If you want to be a reporter or you want to have a presence where social media enhances your business identity, your accessibility, how you work with other people in your career, your future career, I think you really need to wonder whether or not you can separate public and private. You can certainly pursue hobbies or entertainment or sports interests that are apart from your professional life, but anything that you put online is going to be accessible and in some way judged by the people who view you. And the very first thing anyone's going to do before they look to hire you for a job, even oftentimes before they even meet you, is to Google you. And you got to think about what is going to come up and how will they react to that. So the question is there really a difference for you whether you're off the clock or on the clock? And if no one can tell the difference, what will be the effect for you? So here's a couple pretty famous examples on the left. One was from the American Red Cross account, was posted by the person who handles that account and has a private Twitter, but erroneously posted it on the public Red Cross account. The other one was also same circumstance. The person who handles the KitchenAid account had a private account. They erroneously published it on the KitchenAid public account. These were two public relations nightmares. Actually, they were handled fairly well at a PR level, but I assure you that both of these people had a pretty significant problem once those tweets went out. And once the tweet goes, it can't come back. You may untweet it, or you may think that you're able to delete it quickly. All it takes is one person to retweet, and you're done. Here's another one, just about to have a Hawaiian full-body massage. Hope I don't get a stiffy. I just ask, what's the point? What's your goal in posting something like that? And how do you think a potential employer, a source, someone that you're meeting for the first time will think about you once they see this tweet? Now, another question is about signing it, about operating transparently. Now, Twitter encourages you to use your real name. Facebook, to a great degree, requires you to use your real name, although, of course, there are people who use screen names. But if you want to be known by your social media presence, then you need to have your name out there, and you need for people to recognize you by your name. And even if you think you're being pretty clever, as the person who set up the Twitter account NatSecWonk, National Security Wonk, did, people can oftentimes figure out who you are. And in fact, on October 6th of 2013, we had Jofi Joseph, who was a non-proliferation expert at the National Security Council, was an expert in nuclear weapons, and was fired because they found that he had this private or secret Twitter account that he made pithy comments about it, and kind of snide remarks about everybody from Helen Thomas of UPI to Hillary Clinton. So the question is your job worth it? It's hard when you start getting involved in fake names, fictitious profiles, exaggerated or false claims. We always have death hoaxes out there. I think it was Morgan Freeman who had to come out recently and say he wasn't dead. He has to do that regularly. So this means that as reporters, we have to be really careful about the information that we're getting. Now, on Twitter, there's a check mark that goes next to an authentic account of a celebrity or someone who has a significant Twitter following. But when you're a reporter and you are out there seeking information, you have to use social media as a starting point and not as a final source that you can put into your articles. And then what about retweeting? Now, our goal is to get things retweeted, but remember that the falsehoods become yours. And you can put that retweets don't equal endorsements, but you still have a reflection on you personally if you are retweeting things that are inaccurate. Attribution can help you. At least people will know where the information comes from, but it's still a very slippery slope that you need to be careful when you start to go down. And then we have a proliferation of items that are forwarded on social media that have no real basis in reality. The one on the left, of course, is on September 11th of 2001. George Bush was reading to students at an elementary school in Florida, and the rampant rumor was that he had his book upside down. Well, he didn't, of course, but this picture certainly validates that. To the right was another picture from September 11th that someone having their picture taken at the top of the World Trade Center, and obviously the plane has been superimposed there. During Hurricane Sandy, let's take a look at some of those. We had a variety of fake photos that were circulating on social media that did, in some cases they were meant to build respect for these soldiers at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, but of course that wasn't really what was happening. Build fear, the idea of waves crashing over the Statue of Liberty was pretty scary in the movie The Day After Tomorrow. These are incredibly dramatic waves, but not actually truthful. So, understanding that what we see is not always what we can believe. And that's especially true now in the age of Photoshop. So was something real? Was it staged? Was it recreated? This is a picture from the Kent State shooting. This is an iconic photo of this moment when the National Guardsmen shot students at Kent State. Now, if you look at this picture, you may notice that the bottom, which is the original, there's a pole coming out of the back of this woman's head. Now, the pole is part of history. The pole is unsightly, perhaps. Maybe you wish it wasn't there, but at this moment in time it was. And so, even though aesthetically it may be more pleasing without it, it's not factually accurate anymore. Facebook, it's important that you check with your editors before putting your opinion out there on Facebook, especially on areas that you cover. You have to think about whether or not you should be joining groups that deal with topics or issues that are on your beat. I know of a broadcast reporter in Columbus who liked the page that supports a school levy. Well, does that skew her position on the issue, or is she simply joining it in order to get information? We don't know. We know that it appears on the surface that she's in favor of the school levy. That's not really our position to take. Our position is to report what information we think that viewers need to. So blogging ethics are something that we all have to confront as we post things on blogs, because blogs are opinion. They're news-based opinion a lot of the times, but they still have a very strong opinion piece to them. And how much do you reveal? How much information is okay for you to disseminate to readers and still maintain your objectivity as a journalist? The obvious things that we need to do on social media is not to lie, not to post things that we know are false, not to post things that we haven't proven to be true to the best of our abilities. You still can't plagiarize on social media, so you have to make sure that you give credit, that you attribute where information comes from, that you put who contributed to you, that you provide links so that people can connect with the sources that you've used. And you actually acknowledge when you're providing commentary versus when you may be getting paid content. A lot of bloggers, of course, get paid to write content, and we need to know when that's happening. We also need to know about your own conflict of interest. I mean, who are you writing for? Who are you serving? You can't be distorting photos. If you're going to make a mistake, and we all do, you need to admit that mistake, and you need to provide a correction on your social media, on your blog, whatever. You need to show good taste to a degree. You need to recognize that the reading audience out there may have different standards than you do, and what you post is going to reflect on you for a very long period of time. And above all, you have to be right. So this is a clip from the newsroom that we have on the iTunes U page. I'm also going to show it in class, and it involves a very noteworthy story where the information was not correct. Now, in the long run, what's the effect of having information go out that's false? It means that people have less faith in us as journalists, and if they don't believe what we're telling them, then we have to really question what's going to be the use of journalism in the future.